Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Ask Chris Live. This is something new that I'm trying out. I'm broadcasting this via Zoom, but live on Facebook. So I'll be keeping an eye on my phone at the side. Here we go, at the same time, because if anybody commenting on Facebook, you can comment on there. If you want to actually come live on screen, you need to log into the Zoom call. If you log into the Zoom call, then you can ask your questions live, and I can interact with you live on screen. But you can still put your questions in the Facebook, and I'll keep a check on that, bearing in mind there's a slight delay between the live stream on Zoom and it going to Facebook. So, first of all, let me just introduce myself. You know, most of you will know me, Chris Baker. I am a speaker, teacher, trainer, coach. I'm certified by the John Maxwell team, as well as in DISC human behavior consultant. And my mission in life is to add value to people so that they can become the best versions of themselves. So what does that mean? So, well, my business, if you can see, says Release Your Unconscious. And hey, Christian, Tim, and Dave, thanks for tuning in, buddies. Good to see you. Release Your Unconscious. So what that means is that we all have within our minds, within our brains, an enormous amount of untapped potential. And that resides in our unconscious or subconscious mind. And what I want to do is help people to release that, bring it into the conscious mind so that they can put it into use to actually do something intentional with their lives and live the life that they want to live. So a lot of what I teach is based around identifying your purpose in life. So, you know, what is your why? What's the thing that gives you that impetus to keep going, that momentum to sort of bust through a closed door if what you want is on the other side? Because one thing I know is that when we dream big and we've got that growth mentality, which we all should have, by the way, when we've got that, because we're stretching ourselves, times will get hard, right? There will be tough times. Believe me, in the 7 months since I left Disney to do this full time, there's been a lot of hard times, a lot of tough times. However, what's kept me going is my purpose. Right? My passion, my desire to help people, to help other people to be the best they can be. Now, that could be anything, right? It's different for each of us. Our momentum, our passion, our purpose is different. And that's okay, it should be, right? We are all unique human beings. And as unique human beings, we've all got unique feelings, unique emotions, unique wants and desires. The challenge is that we're not trained to think about what they are, or to even understand what they are and say, oh, that's what I want to achieve. Now it's okay to go and achieve it. Right? We're trained to say, just get a safe job, get a career, just keep your head down, keep working, and good things will come to you. And when we're in a career, therefore, we get frustrated. Right? We find ourselves, and maybe you can relate to this, and if you can, again, put your comments in the comments box. Right? In Facebook, if you're on Zoom, you can use the chat function on Zoom, and I'll keep an eye on that as well. But what we do is we get frustrated. Right? So I sort of my target audience, if you like, is frustrated professionals, right? People that know they're worthy of more, right? They want more from their life. They know they can do more, but they've got that lid, that cap put on them by whatever their circumstances are that they're in. And I want you guys to realize that circumstances do not dictate your future. It's our thoughts that dictate the circumstances. Now, again, I know that's different to what you're taught. But if you accept that you are where you are because of your circumstances, this time next year, this time in 5 years, this time in 10 years, you'll be in exactly the same place. Right? You might actually be worse off because there'll be other people that will be pushing forward. There's other people that will be looking to achieve more from their life, and they'll probably overtake you. A bit of tough love. Yes, bit of tough love. And I don't apologize for that, because I had to have that conversation with myself. Because again, we're not taught this. What we can do is we can change our thought process and dictate our circumstances. Yes, we can do that. We can control our destiny. Right? We are the captain of our soul. We are the master of our fate. So as many famous people have said, whether you attribute it to Henry Ford or whoever, it doesn't matter. All right, the saying is true. You can control your destiny, but you need to understand where you want to go and why it's important. All right, so what's the feelings and what's the emotions behind what it is you're looking for? I sincerely believe that everything starts with a why, or at least everything that is going to give you sustained success and significance in your life needs to have the foundation of a rock solid why, a rock solid purpose that is unique to you, that you buy into, that you understand, and you use as the core of all decisions that you make in the future. And what I mean by that is, when you make a decision, is it taking me towards my why, towards my purpose, or is it taking me away from it? Now, sometimes the decision that is taking you away from it is the easier decision to take, but that doesn't mean it's the best. For sustained significance, you need to always be following your why and your purpose. Is it easy? No. It's simple, but it's not easy. So that's where I start everything. All right. So, you'll see programs that I'll do and teachings that I'll do. And the why is the basis. I also will talk about mindset, talk about thought, talk about wealth. But it all starts with why. I talk about leadership development and personal growth. It all starts with why. Think of that as the first step on the ladder. All right. Without that, everything else is going to go. No, in fact, this is the better analogy that I look at. When you're building a house, or when somebody's building a house, you may not build houses, I don't build houses, but when you're building, a house is being built, the first thing that goes in is not the walls, it's not the roof, it's not the windows or the doors, it's the foundation. Those builders make sure that foundation is rock solid. They make sure it's level. They make sure it's not going to collapse. Then, and only then, do they start building. And then they'll put up the framework, right? And then once the framework's put in, they'll put the joists on for the roof. And then they'll probably box out the framework. And then they'll put the doors and the windows. And then when all the outside is done and the roof's done and everything, then they'll start on the inside, which is the finishing touches. Right? Your life and your development, your progress is the same. But here's the thing is, most of us try and get to putting the roof on before we've done the foundation, the walls, the joists and everything. Right? We want to skip right from A to Z. Right? This is something that is sort of aimed at millennial population. And I want to say, millennials, if you're watching, and anybody else, this is not a millennial issue. How do I know that? Well, I know that because I'm 52. I'll be 53 years old in a little under a month. And I had exactly this in my life. Good afternoon, David. Thanks for joining. I had this in my life, right from when I was a kid. I talked to my parents. Excuse me. They would talk about me having what they called 5-minute wonders. I'd start doing something, and then when it got a little bit tough, I'd quit and I'd want to go and do something else. I think of this when I was learning to play the trumpet. Right, it's great. Learned the trumpet, got to grade 5, which is a pretty reasonable standard and a tough exam. Passed that, and then it was like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. It's hard. So let me go and learn the guitar. So I'd learn the guitar, I'd do some chords on the guitar, I'd start doing that. And then it would be, okay, well, now you need to look at some classical type play. Oh, that's a bit hard. So what else can I do? And then that carried on into my career. carried on into my relationships, if I'm honest. So, you know, that's going back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. This is not a millennial issue. Right, the millennials ask questions. Absolutely, they ask questions. The millennials want to get on. Absolutely, they want to get on. The challenge is with the older population that is conditioned to say, whoa, slow your horses, right? Don't get ideas above your stations. Let's just take time. If this takes 5, 10, 15 years, then so be it. That doesn't have to be that case. Right, it doesn't have to be that case. So I've got a question that was sent in to me earlier today by a friend and colleague, Alex. So I'm going to get to that. So I just want to say again, if you are on Zoom, and there's a few of you on Zoom, if you want to ask the question, you can just put in the chat that you want to ask a question. I'll keep an eye on that. And if you do, you can either ask it in chat and I'll just answer it, or if you want to, I can bring you on screen, all right, and you can watch at the side of me. We can be side to side, and we can interact live, so that we just have a conversation, right? Bearing in mind everybody else will be seeing that, and that's okay, all right. So if you've got those questions, ask away, all right. So Facebook, put it in the chat. If you're on Zoom, use the chat on Zoom to let me know you've got a question, and then I can bring you on. So Alex asked a question he sent in to me earlier, and I'm not sure if Alex has been able to join, but he said, what can I do to be more forceful in my leadership style? He said, I feel that sometimes I'm too nice. This is a great question. And it's one thing that I've had experience with myself. I can tell you that when I was through early 2000s, so like 2001 maybe, and I was a general sales manager of car dealership in Christchurch, Dorset in England, and I'd been promoted from a salesman to the sales manager position and general sales manager. And so people that were my colleagues were now my direct reports. So I was under the impression that as a leader I should be liked, and you know I should do everything. And you know it was one of those where I had that sort of thought. And Alex, I'm not saying that you've got this thought, but I would have that thought and say, if something needs doing right, I'll do it myself. Right? And I would sort of corral everything and say I'll do it, and I didn't delegate. And so what happened is everything got dumped on me. But I was friends with everybody, right? So I found it difficult, and this is comes back to the DISC, the human behavior studies, and your communication styles. By nature, I'm a more reserved person. Right now, I've had to adapt to that, to be able to do like these lives and to go and speak, because that requires me to be more outgoing. Right, so you can adapt and do that, but I was always, you know, the sort that I didn't sort of want conflict. So again, if there was going to be conflict, I'd say, well, I'll just do it myself, right? Or I'd set the task. If they didn't do it or they did it wrong, then I'd correct it. The challenge with that is that everybody allows that to go on. So part of it is you, as a leader, understanding that you are responsible for your team, but your success is based on your team's success. It's not based on yourself. So one of the things that is definitely needed in that is that you need to communicate to your team the exact requirements of what it is you're doing. All right, so what is the end objective? And again, I'll go back to my introduction to this. It all starts with the why. So does your team and your whole organization know the why of that organization? And with the why, you've got personal whys, you've got team whys, you could have division whys, and you could have an organization why. All right, every one of those levels should have a why and a why statement, and an understanding of the purpose of their role. So the thing I found out over the time is that when everybody knows the why of the business, the why of your team, the why of you get buy-in from them. And if you get buy-in from them, you don't need to be forceful, as long as you're communicating this correctly. All right. So again, it's, guys, this is what we need to do, and this is why we need to do it, and this is the end objective we're looking for. Right? Can anybody see any obstacles in our way? Can anybody see a better solution of what we've got in plan? What do you think? How can we do it? And what you're doing is you're asking for their input, right? And here's the experience I've had, is that when you ask teams for their input, they take ownership. When they take ownership and responsibility, they get a pride in what they do and a satisfaction from delivering the results. They will almost always, if not always, produce a higher level of results if they've got that ownership and responsibility and that buy-in. Right, so that would be the best way, is to sit them down and formulate that. A great exercise to do with your team is to sit them down and say, hey, let's write a mission statement for our team. All right, mission statement, why statement, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. Let's ask a mission statement. All right, and you start looking and saying, why are we here? What do we want to achieve? What's our end objective? And then as you facilitate that, and you're not giving them the answers, you're facilitating the session, you're writing all these words down, then put it into a 1 to 2 sentence that they come up with, that they can then live every day. Right? Because they've come up with it and they live it, they'll breathe it, they'll do it, everything will happen. And I had this exact experience with a team at Disney, right? And they went from here to here almost overnight, so much so that everybody else on the floor that we were on, and other floors, other areas that we're interacting with that team, were asking, like, man, what's happened to that team, right? What they are the only, and this was a comment that came from the executive secretary of one of the directors, and in another areas on our floor. They said, your team is the only one that's happy on this floor. Right now, there's 2 parts to that. One, it's sad that the other teams were not happy, but the fact is that she recognized that this team was happy is amazing. And it all came from them understanding that. So, Alex, you've said, yeah, give them the why, the vision, and the end goal that we want to achieve. Yes, that's it. So, Alex, hopefully that answered your question. It's one of the things that I do, and now when I go in and work with organisations, again, we've got to start with that why. And the same with individuals. So I'm just looking on Facebook. David has said on there, don't let your employees fall below any of your business standards. Business and personal always needs to be separate. Yes, David. And here's the thing with that, right? You can have personal standards, you can have business standards. And if you're, let's say your employees' personal standards are low, but your business standards are up here. When they're at work, they need to raise to your business standards. The thing you need to do is make sure that you communicate those business standards to them, right, up front. Ideally, before you even employ them, right, so that they know what they're signing up for. Okay, think about it from your point of view as well. If you go in somewhere and you think you're signing up for A, but actually you get B, you're not going to be happy, right? They're exactly the same. So I would always put myself in their position. Yeah, but that communication is key. Right? If we don't communicate clearly, how can we expect them to understand it? Right? And how can we expect them to deliver what we want if we haven't communicated so they understand what we want? That's hope and wish, and hope and wish is not a strategy. Okay, so hopefully, Alex, that's answered your question. David, thank you for your input on Facebook there, and I know we've sort of had you follow on Jay and I's Facebook group, and you've gone through a couple of my programs too. So I really I can't emphasize enough the importance of this why. So I wanted to sort of keep this, David, understanding is key. 100% understanding is key. All right, understanding is key. And David, David is a gents hairdresser. So David, here's an example, right? If I came into your salon and you said to me, okay, Chris, how do you want your hair? And I said, it doesn't matter, just do what you think. And then you do something and I look at it and I go, well, that's not what I wanted. You're going to go, but you didn't tell me what you wanted, right? In reality, you wouldn't do it unless I told you what you wanted. I know that. But the point is there, right? And it's the same in any sales, it's the same with any teams, all right? If you're asking somebody to do something or you're asking something from somebody, but they don't clearly understand what it is that you want in, it is less likely that you're going to get that result. I would, in the car sales, and it works in anything, I would, free haircut, yeah, David, well, I don't know. I would, endorse like asking the question back, right? And even with a team. So if I ask you to do something, right, I give you an instruction, I say, okay, so just tell me back what it is that you're required to do and when it's required by, right? And they would repeat it back in their words. And that way I'm checking for understanding. All right, so again, in the hairdressers there, David, I'd say to you, okay, so I want a 1 through 2 on the side, scissor cut on the top, this part in here just going over, and you'd say, okay, so let me just check that. So 1 through 2, scissor cut going over, how much on top? Does that sound okay? Yeah, perfect. Right, then you get going and you do it. It's the same in any interaction. All right, so if you're asking a team member, if you're asking a client, a customer, right, check for understanding. There are some people that don't want to ask for clarification because they think, well, maybe they think I didn't understand it. Well, it's better to ask for clarification, right, and then realize that you didn't quite understand it, then don't ask for it, go ahead and then get it wrong, because guess what? You've got to do it again. All right, I remember from when I was a kid, and I was told to always raise a hand and ask for questions, and they would say it's better to raise your hand and ask a question and risk looking like a fool than not ask it and confirm that you are a fool, or something along those lines, right? So it's always better to ask for clarification. And consultative, I call it consultative selling, but consultative advice, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Consultation, as David says in the Facebook group there, consultation is crucial. All right, so check for understanding, check for clarification before you go ahead and do something. So before I wrap up, because half an hour is nearly gone already. Wow, that's amazing. So again, remember, if you've got questions, put them either in the Facebook group, put them in the chat in the Zoom group, and I'll answer those. But there's just a couple of things that I shared with my mastermind community on Thursday night, and that's every other week, or the first and third Thursday of the week, I've got a mastermind community that pay a small monthly subscription and come together, and I teach them live for, depends, I teach probably for about 30, 45 minutes, and then we have Q&A sessions, and those calls could be an hour, they could be 2 hours, it doesn't matter. And they have a private membership site as well on my website that only they get access to, where they can communicate with each other, and I'll put various material on. And one of the things I was asking them on Thursday is around this subject of your why. Thanks, David. Have a good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. It is really understanding your why. All right, your why is, as I say, is the foundation of everything, as I said at the start. So there's a few questions here that I'm not going to give you all of them. I'm just going to give you a couple. And you can watch this back. The replay will be on Facebook. If you want the Zoom, a copy of the Zoom to download it, send me a private message. And what I'll do is I'll get your email and I'll send you a link to the Zoom recording as well if you want. You can get the video and the audio recording there. there's a couple of things that I want you guys to think about as you are formulating your why. One of them is well, there's two here, right? There's two opposites. The first one is, what has given you the greatest pleasure in your life to date? And then the reverse of that is, what has given you the greatest sorrow, pain, or sense of loss in your life to date? Right, so greatest pleasure, greatest sorrow, pain, or sense of loss. And then go deeper. What was it about those events that gave you that pleasure, pain, sorrow, or sense of loss? And keep going deeper till you get to the emotion. Right, now this may make you cry if it was a sorrow, pain, or loss. It may make you cry if it was a pleasure, because when the birth of your first child could be a greatest pleasure, and that's a real emotional experience. And know that as you ask these questions every month, then maybe they change, right? Because something may have happened in the last month that supersedes whatever it is. But what you're doing is you're drilling down to the emotion, right, of the event. So what was it that made it? What was it made it so so pleasurable, so painful? Okay. And then the other question I'm going to ask you to think about is, do you face squarely the circumstances which make you unhappy, or do you sidestep the responsibility? In other words, do you say, it's just how it is, that's the circumstances, I can't do anything about it? Or do you look at it and say, okay, that's how it is, but what can I do to overcome that? Right? You see, there's a solution for every problem. In fact, there's multiple solutions for every problem. And I coach people, I train people, and I have to do it myself, right? Because this is a constant thing, an ongoing battle, ongoing trial. Look for a solution in every problem. Right? Look for that, use that can-do attitude. Right? So I can do this. Right? You don't try, you do. Right? That was what Yoda said, right? Do or do not, there is no try, or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. But basically, if you're in your mind that you say you're going to try, what you're really saying is you're setting yourself up for it not succeeding, going, oh, well, I tried. Right? Subtle differences in thought and mindset. And what will make the difference? What will keep you going forward? What will keep you learning from those temporary setbacks? Right? I call them temporary setbacks, not failures. What keeps you learning from those and makes you go forward? Understanding your why and your purpose. All right, so we've got those things there. So hopefully you learned some stuff from that. I'll be back again same time next week, so 2 o'clock Eastern time next Saturday. Again, if you can join me live and ask questions live, either through Facebook, as we've seen, or on the Zoom. If you join the Zoom call, I'll send you a recording of this afterwards. If you're watching on Facebook and you want a recording of this, shoot me a personal message. I'll reach out to you, I'll get your email, and then I'll send you a recording of this. And so, again, if you can't listen live, but you know you're going to want to listen back, register for the Zoom call and you'll get the recording. Right? If you've got a question, but you're not sure if you're going to be able to join live or not, do like Alex did, send me an email. Let me know that you are, you've got that question. And then what I do is I'll go through that there. If you're live, as Alex is in the end, and you can answer, great. If you want to come on screen, you can come on screen. But my aim, my role is to add value to you guys. I want to help you to be the best version of what you are. Now, the best version of what you are could be becoming a better family man, a better husband, a better father. It could be developing your career. It could be a move in your career. It could be leaving and setting up your own business. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm here to help you and here to support you. So I appreciate you joining. Thanks to you all. Have a great and blessed weekend. And again, if you've got any questions or you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to serve you guys. So Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.